And like I said, this is where the rubber meets the road. This could be really cool, or it could be an epic fail. That would be if I broke the bow, and that could definitely happen while we're doing this. But just quickly to show you what we're doing. We've got the bow up here. The bow is sitting in the middle of our jig. We have some lines here on the board so we can see kind of how the limbs are flexing to make sure they're flexing evenly. And then we have a piece of wood right here that's marked every inch. This tells us how many inches we're pulling back the bowstring. We want to try to get the bowstring down to about 28 inches. That's called the draw length. That's what we're shooting for, about 28 inches. So we eventually want to be able to pull the string all the way down here to 28. Right now we just have a loose string in it, and we'll put a tight string on later. And then this part's kind of cool. If you look at the bottom here, I have a shipping scale. So this is a scale to measure how much weight is on here. I'm going to set the scale at 0 when the bow's on it. So it's set at 0 right now. And as I pull down on the string that we have right here, the weight here goes up. So right now I'm pulling down 12 pounds. That's about 13 or 14 pounds actually. So that shows how many pounds I'm pulling down on the bow. And that's important for a bow too, because a bow is measured by the weight, how many pounds it takes to pull it back. So what we're going to shoot for, guys, we're going to try to make a bow that pulls back to 28 inches at around kind of a weakling. So we'll go for like around 30 pounds, 35 pounds or so. So to do this, we're going to take this and we're going to pull this down, and we're going to look at the bow as it flexes, and we're going to shave wood off of the belly of the bow. This part's called the belly. We're going to shave wood off the belly and try to make it look even and get it down to that measurement that we want. All right, let's start it. Here we go. So I'm going to take it here and I'm going to pull back. And you can see as I pull back, I'm getting it down. Right there, I'm at about 10 inches. So I'm going to look at the scale and the limbs as I'm pulling back. And I'm going to start out, I'm going to try to get it down to about 17 inches, I think, at about, probably around 30 pounds.
It was clear from our tillering jig we needed to take a lot of the ipe off the belly of the bow. So my first step was to go to the bandsaw and cut it, and then the belt sander to smooth things out. Finally, I removed wood with the orbital sander and cleaned everything up. After doing this, you could see that the bow bent quite a bit more. I was able to bring it down a little bit more, pulling down to about probably around 10 inches, but still getting a lot more flex in the bow. So I took even more wood off, simply using the orbital sander. Then I was able to pull it down even more. After this, and removing more wood, you can see the bow's really starting to bend, and I'm able to pull it down to about 20 inches or so. So the next step was to put the actual string on the bow. Here I'm using just a piece of parachute cord, not a real bowstring. But once it was in the tillering jig, then it started to bend back with the real string on it. So I gave it more sanding with the orbital sander just to take off more wood, and then put it back in the jig.
All right, so we've got our bow pretty much tillered now. I'm going to spend a little more time on it, try to get it just a little bit more even. Because I took so much wood off, it reduced the draw weight of our bow. So we're not at 30 pounds. Now we're at more like probably 25 pounds or so, which, oh well, is what it is. It'll still work. It'll just be easier to pull back. So I'm going to spend a little more time on it, and then I think we should be ready to go. Tomorrow, we'll shape out the grip, and we'll make some arrows. See you guys then.